So in my previous video, I was talking about how migrants or mass flow or flow of migrants creates earlier retirement in the locals. And that is something that I wanted to talk and share about more of this, where I have this therapeutic moment while I'm doing my puzzle. All right, as you can see, there's a puzzle there. So I may not speak with you face to face, so I'll do my puzzle while I'm doing this. Okay. So I guess now actually I can't do some multitasking. So I guess the most important thing is what I've realized when I moved in this new place is the spacing. Now I moved to a bigger room, a lot more bigger room than what I have, literally. So literally just going through and understanding how space is very important, and how I mentioned in my previous video talking about more of the areas. And when I talk about the areas, it was more of the things of saying, talking. I think I have to go a bit lower. Hope you guys understand what I'm doing. Okay, so understanding how it's supposed to be in small spaces confined, it does create very strong mentality, work environment, creativity, and I've used it, and I've mentioned talking about the areas of such as nature versus nurture, which I didn't quite understand while I was studying the unit, right? So when I was studying the unit, as I mentioned on my previous video, I didn't quite understand the nature versus nurture. Now, countries like a lot of countries who lives in small confined areas, where we live in a big area, right? I can play puzzle out of these open wide areas. Areas I talk about small confined spaces like Japan, Hong Kong, China, Asian countries. Particularly, I'm talking about Asian countries, right? Most of them are having high rise. They live in apartments or units, and they live in a very small confined spaces. As you know, I'm playing this puzzle in the big area, in this huge big room. I don't want to play around with the camera actually. I'm just going to do my own thing. And what I've realized is that many students who's international students who's coming from Asia particularly are very, I'm not saying all of them, but they have a very high chances of succeeding. Where many local students, whether they drop out or things like that, and creating a very different dynamic where, as you can hear and see on the news, where they keep saying, oh, local students are not going to university, or they're not doing well, they're not hustling as what they should be. Well, if you go to university, there's a lot of Chinese, Indian, Bangladesh, Nepalese, Vietnam. You get to see all sorts, right? And when you get to see all sorts, and you get to see how it actually form a very strong creativity. And when you go through graduation, right? I remember I was going to my mate's graduation, and I get to see a lot of very, very strong, a lot of dynamic range of migrants, of international students who's getting and receiving a piece of paper. Now, receiving a piece of paper is very, very important, as you guys know, going to university, and as well of understanding how the importance on getting that piece of paper. Where most of us, we live in the big confined spaces. We have this welfare, this safety net behind us, and as well gone through. Where do you put this? Okay. Are you sure this is how it works? Sorry, guys, I'm just trying to figure out where this puzzle goes. Okay, that's a bit weird. Okay, I'll figure out that one later. Ooh, yeah. Okay, I got it wrong. Mismatched the places. That's all. But speaking about like understanding how if you have the small confined spaces, they'll always achieve. They have a high success rate achieving than local students, and it really bothered me when I look at it. But now I understand it's the nature versus nurture, where their nature is very hustling, bustling. The scooters, If you go to the country, motorbikes, taxis are everywhere, people are everywhere in small confined spaces, as you can see on this map. Just this is like, as you can see, Sydney, you see these high-rise buildings like that, but in their country it's like completely 360 degrees, or whether it's high or low, it doesn't matter, but they see a lot. And it makes them work harder, 10 times harder, because they don't want to stay in this small confined space. They go out, they learn, they go out and mingled. No, I can't say mingle, but they go out and try to learn new things, the ways that make them successful or getting into a successful pathway. And the word of mouth going around, gaining new knowledge, right? That's the most important thing, knowledge. Or, they have a bigger, family structure, lives in a very small area where the family structure in the Western world is currently in tumbling situation where you get to engage least amount of people. And when you have that sort of environment, the less people you have, the worse it is. Sorry, the phones keep ringing. Maybe I should put it mute. So when you have that small space, you're tight near the community where their nature and nurture is a lot more conservative, a lot more sharing ideas and word of mouth, as I mentioned before, and that's created where they go. The whole family rely on, invest their child, whether go tutoring or go to very good school in their country, which it's a thing. Like it has to be hypergamy, where they can support the whole family structure. All right, hypergamy, supporting the whole family, is a very important thing. Right, that's their culture. Well, we live in a culture we don't care. If we get old, we go to the aged care. There's no safety net. But in their country, they cannot maybe lose face by doing that. Or they're a very tight community where our nature and nurture is very strong of individualism. It's all right if you fail in uni. It's all right. There's always a safety net for you to go through. So that's the video that I'm trying to explain to you guys, and I hope you guys quite understand where this small confined space, tight knitted, um, how it is. People do, many cultures and civilization has worked in different areas, but we live in a very different era right now where we have technology. So yeah, that's the video to share and what's in my mind while I'm doing the puzzle. So it will be great.